The letter in the snow. The village of Ravenshollow lay cradled by the Swiss Alps, a place where time seemed to move slower, and life was lived in the shadow of towering peaks. Evelyn Marlowe, a historian with a heart yearning for something she couldn't name, had retreated to Ravenshollow seeking solace. At 35, she was a woman of academic renown, but personal discontent. Her days were spent poring over ancient manuscripts, but the nights, those long, cold nights, were haunted by dreams of something beyond her grasp. It was during one of these nights, as snow fell in heavy drifts outside her cabin, that Evelyn heard the knock. The sound startled her. Visitors were rare in this remote part of the village. She opened the door cautiously, her breath fogging in the icy air. No one stood there, only the wind howling through the trees, but at her feet lay an envelope, its edges damp from the snow. Inside was a single parchment, aged and brittle, and a small iron key. The note read, "To the seeker who dares to find, follow the echoes left behind. Unlock the chamber where time does freeze, and truth will bring you to your knees." The final line struck her like a lightning bolt. "Seek, and you shall find." Her fingers trembled as she folded the note and examined the key. It was old, its intricate carvings suggesting an era long past. That night, Evelyn slept little. The cryptic message gnawed at her, stirring a restless energy she hadn't felt in years. The next morning, she sought answers in the village. She took the note to an elderly shopkeeper, Frau Liesel, who had lived in Ravenshollow her entire life. Frau Liesel's face paled as she read the words. "This speaks of the chapel of St. Solace," she whispered, clutching her shawl tighter. Evelyn frowned. "I've never heard of it." "Few have," Liesel replied. "It's deep in the forest, abandoned for centuries. Some say it's cursed." "Cursed?" Evelyn's curiosity deepened. "They say the chapel was built by monks seeking enlightenment, but their rituals turn dark. Those who enter rarely return. It's not a place for the living, my dear." Evelyn felt the weight of the key in her pocket. Something about the mystery beckoned her, as if the chapel held answers to the questions she couldn't articulate. Despite Liesel's warnings, Evelyn resolved to find it. Into the forest. The forest was silent, the kind of silence that pressed against the ears and made the heart race. Evelyn trudged through the snow, the trees towering above her like sentinels. The directions Frau Liesel had given were vague, but Evelyn felt an inexplicable pull guiding her steps. After hours of walking, she came upon the chapel. It was smaller than she'd imagined, its stone walls crumbling and overgrown with ivy. The air felt heavier here, as though the forest itself held its breath. Inside, the chapel was cold and dark. Faded frescoes adorned the walls, their once vivid colors now muted by time. Symbols she didn't recognize were etched into the stone floor, and a faint scent of incense lingered in the air. Evelyn's eyes were drawn to the altar, where an inscription read, "Truth lies beneath. Dare to descend." Beneath the altar, she found a trap door. The key fit perfectly into the rusted lock, and with a creak, the door opened to reveal a spiral staircase descending into darkness. Her heart pounded as she descended, each step echoing in the silence. At the bottom, she found herself in a labyrinth of tunnels. The walls were lined with more symbols, their meanings tantalizingly out of reach. As she explored, Evelyn began to hear whispers, soft, indistinct, yet undeniably there. She froze, straining to listen. "Who's there?" she called, her voice trembling. The whispers stopped. She pressed on, her footsteps hesitant. "Father Gregor." In the heart of the labyrinth, Evelyn encountered a figure cloaked in shadows. Startled, she stepped back, her lantern flickering. "Who are you?" she demanded. The figure stepped into the light, revealing a man in monk's robes. His face was gaunt, his eyes sunken but sharp. "I am Father Gregor," he said, his voice calm but unsettling. "And you are trespassing." Evelyn explained her presence, showing him the note and key. Gregor studied them, his expression unreadable. "You should not be here," he said finally. "The chapel holds secrets that should remain buried." "But I need to know," Evelyn insisted. "There's something calling me here." Gregor sighed. "If you must continue, tread carefully. Not all truths bring peace." With that, he vanished into the shadows, leaving Evelyn more determined than ever. The visions. As Evelyn delved deeper into the labyrinth, she began to experience visions. They came suddenly, vivid and disorienting. She saw a woman dressed in medieval garb, kneeling in the chapel. The woman's name was Isolde, and her story unfolded in fragments. She had been a seeker of knowledge, condemned by the monks for uncovering forbidden truths. Evelyn felt a strange connection to her, as though their souls were intertwined. In one vision, Isolde whispered, "The heart of eternity will guide you. But beware, its light reveals all, even the shadows within." Evelyn awoke from the vision, gasping, her resolve solidified. The heart of eternity. At last, Evelyn reached a grand chamber. The walls were covered in murals depicting the cycle of life, death, and rebirth. In the center stood a pedestal, and upon it lay the heart of eternity, a crystal that glowed with an otherworldly light. As Evelyn touched it, a wave of warmth enveloped her. She was transported to a surreal realm where time and space seemed to dissolve. In this realm, she confronted her deepest fears and regrets. She relived moments from her childhood, felt the pain of lost loved ones, and faced the emptiness she had carried for years. Isolde appeared again, her voice a soothing presence. "The void within you is not a curse," she said. "It is the space where truth takes root. Embrace it, and you will find your purpose." When Evelyn awoke, she felt transformed. The heart of eternity had shown her the path to healing and enlightenment. The betrayal. But peace was fleeting. Father Gregor reappeared, his demeanor darker than before. "The heart is mine," he hissed. "You were but a tool to find it." Evelyn realized his true intentions, to harness the heart's power for his own gain. A struggle ensued, filled with tension and desperation. Using the heart's light, Evelyn exposed Gregor's true nature, a man consumed by greed and darkness. The confrontation culminated in the heart shattering, its energy restoring the chapel to its former glory. Gregor vanished, leaving only silence behind. A new dawn. Evelyn emerged from the chapel, the morning sun casting its golden light over the village. She felt lighter, as though the weight of years had lifted. She dedicated herself to sharing her story, inspiring others to seek their own truths. The chapel, once feared, became a symbol of hope and renewal for the villagers. Standing atop a mountaintop, Evelyn watched the sunrise, a profound sense of unity filling her. She realized that the true treasure wasn't the heart, but the journey it had taken her on, a journey to herself.